Morgen, meine Damen und Herren.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask you now to stop taking pictures so that we can start the meeting proper. I would like to ask everybody here to refrain from using mobile phones and in fact to switch off their mobile phones. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to open this 129th ordinary shareholder meeting of Audi AG. My name is Herbert Dies. I've been the CEO of Volkswagen AG since April the 13th, 2018. The local court of Ingolstadt appointed me a member of the supervisory board of Audi AG as of the 7th of May, 2018. The supervisory board elected me its chairman at its meeting yesterday. As chairman of the supervisory board, I shall preside over this meeting pursuant to Article 21 of the Articles of Association of Audi AG. I'm looking forward to this new task with particular interest. You can find more details about my previous career on the website of Audi AG and in the CV handed out at this shareholders' meeting. My particularly warm welcome goes to all shareholders, shareholder representatives, representatives of the media, our guests, and to all those watching us on the web. Let me welcome in particular you, Ms. Marianne Heiss, and Mr. Gunnar Kilian. Ms. Heiss has been a member of the supervisory board since the 7th of May 2018. Mr. Gunnar Kilian is to be elected to this body today. I would also like to welcome Ms. Petra Otte and Mr. Rainer Schirmer. They were elected to the supervisory board by the delegates of the employee representatives on April the 12th, 2018. I would also like to welcome very warmly the political representatives present here today. To name just a few, let me welcome as guests of honor the Lord Mayor of Ingolstadt, Dr. Christian Lössl, and Mayor Sepp Misselbeck and Albert Whitman. Thank you very much to all of you for having taken up our invitation to attend the shareholders' meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, we're once again offering guided tours of our production facilities this year. In addition, you can take a guided tour of the Museum Mobile and learn more about the history of the Audi brand. The tours start half an hour after the shareholders' meeting is adjourned. Should you be interested in the guided tours, please turn to the information counter. In addition, there is a marketplace on sustainability on the upper floor. Go and have a look at the exhibits and also learn more about the strategic goal of Audi in some short presentations. Let us now turn to some formalities. The official record of the shareholder meeting will be kept by Professor Dr. Wegmann, Notary Public from Ingolstadt. He's sitting right next to me. One member of the Board of Management is unable to attend today's meeting, Mr. Peter Kössler. He apologizes for health reasons. We would like to take this opportunity and wish him a speedy recovery. All members of the Supervisory Board are present at today's shareholders' meeting. The meeting has been called in due time and in due form. The invitation for this shareholders' meeting, along with the resolutions proposed by the management, were published on March the 29th, 2018, in the Federal Gazette in due time. The invitation for today's shareholders' meeting was also released on March the 29th, 2018, to those media of which it can be expected that this information will be disseminated throughout the European Union. This information was also published on the Audi websites. The Notary Public has received copies of these publications for reference. The area with seating and the rooms accessible from here up to the entrance and exit check form the attendance area. all shareholders within the attendance area are participating in the shareholders' meeting. The meeting is transmitted throughout the attendance area by loudspeakers and can be followed from anywhere within the attendance area. Ladies and gentlemen, in exchange for your tickets, you should have received voting card forms at the entrance. Please check whether you've received voting card forms for all your tickets. If this should not be the case, you can still collect your voting card forms at the entrance. Please keep your voting card forms on you at all times and handle them with care. The attendance record has not been fully completed yet. At the latest, by the time we take the first vote, it will be available for your perusal on a computer terminal at the information counter. Ladies and gentlemen, the attendance record forms the basis for determining the voting results. For this reason, it has to be updated constantly. If you should leave the shareholders' meeting temporarily or early, please make this known at the exit counters. You can appoint a proxy for the time you are absent. Messrs. Reinhard Schüttel and Stefan Traub of Audi AG have made themselves available as proxies. Forms for appointing a proxy have been prepared on your voting card forms. I hope you'll understand that we have to record attendance seamlessly. For security reasons, I would like to ask all persons attending the meeting to take all your belongings with you when leaving the meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, if you intend to take the floor on any item on the agenda, please submit your request for the floor at the speaker's point to the right of the stage. Please state your name, the name of your shareholder organization if applicable, the items on the agenda you want to speak to, and your attendance number. You will find your attendance number at the top of your voting card form. This much for the formalities. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to ask you to rise from your seats in honor of all those of the Audi Group who have died since the last shareholders' meeting. Thank you. Thank you for having risen in honor of the deceased. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that I'm also speaking on your behalf when I now take this opportunity to thank all those very much who, despite great challenges, contributed to the success of Audi in the past fiscal year. The board of management and the managers of the company, the employee representatives, and a special thanks to all the employees of the Audi Group. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now present the report of the Supervisory Board. I shall also make reference to the German Corporate Governance Code. Afterwards, the Board of Management present their report. Then we take speeches and questions. To start with, I shall list all the agenda items that are up for debate and explain how we proceed. When the debate is completed, we take the vote on the agenda items. Ladies and gentlemen, there have been the following changes on the Board of Management on the Supervisory since the last shareholders meeting. As of the 12th and 13th of April, Dr. Francisco Javier Garcia-San and Mr. Matthias Müller resigned from their seats on the Supervisory Board with effect of the 12th and 13th of April. To complement the Supervisory Board, the local court of Ingolstadt appointed Ms. Marianne Heiss and myself as members of the Supervisory Board. As of the end of today's shareholder meeting, the 5-year term in office of all members of the Supervisory Board will end. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank all members of the Supervisory Board for their committed work on this body, and I'm sure I can do so on your behalf as well. With the exception of Senator Orenz, all the shareholder representatives of the Supervisory Board are up for re-election. Senator Orenz, it's been more than 2 decades that you were involved in all the important and strategic decisions on the Supervisory Board of the company. This merits our highest respect and our highest gratefulness. On the 12th of April 2018, the delegates of the employees also elected their representatives to the Supervisory Board. Mr. Berthold Huber and Mr. Max Wecker from the employee bench will no longer be members of the Supervisory Board. Dear Mr. Huber, dear Mr. Wecker, you had to do this balancing act representing the interests of the employees and representing the interests of the company for more than 2 decades. I can imagine it wasn't always easy for you, and we would also like to thank you very much indeed and express our highest recognition for the services that you rendered to the company. The delegates of the employees elected Ms. Petra Otte and Mr. Rainer Schirmer as new members of the Supervisory Board. They're taking office as of the end of today's shareholder meeting. I would like to congratulate all the employee representatives who were elected, and I'm sure I'm also speaking on your behalf. I would like to welcome the new members to our board and hope they will all have a successful term in office. Ladies and gentlemen, as you were able to take from the invitation of this shareholders meeting, the election of the shareholder representatives on the Supervisory Board is due as agenda item for today. Due to various changes in personnel within the Volkswagen Group, it was necessary to modify the list of candidates proposed for the election on short notice. You were able to read about the modifications made on the homepage of Audi AG. In addition, you were handed out a sheet with the full modified list of candidates on registration. This much on personnel matters of the Supervisory Board. There were the following changes on the company's Board of Management since the last shareholders' meeting. The following left the Board of Management with effect from the close of August the 31st, 2017, by mutual agreement with the Supervisory Board, Professor Thomas Sigi, Axel Strodbeck, Dr. Dietmar Vogenreiter, and Professor Dr. Hubert Walter. The Supervisory Board would like to thank the former members of the Board of Management. They were instrumental in the success of the company. As of September the 1st, 2017, Wendelin Goebel assumed responsibility for the Human Resources and Organization Division, Peter Kössler, responsibility for the Production and Logistics Division, Abraham Schott, responsibility for Marketing and Sales, and Alexander Seitz for Finance, IT and Integrity. Gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to once again bid you a warm welcome. I wish you every success in dealing with the challenges we're facing. Ladies and gentlemen, the Board of Management gave regular, up-to-date and comprehensive accounts of its actions to the Supervisory Board in the past fiscal year. Decisions of fundamental importance were discussed in detail by the Board of Management and the Supervisory Board. The Supervisory Board considered the economic framework and the company's business development and policy, as well as its risk management and risk situation, at ordinary meetings of the Supervisory Board convened each quarter, as well as on the basis of regular oral and written reports from the Board of Management, and consulted with the Board of Management closely on these matters. At its 4 ordinary meetings in 2017, the Supervisory Board also considered at length the opportunities and risks for Audi in key markets, in particular in the United States, China, and the European markets. The subject areas it examined in this connection included ensuring a sustainable return, pricing options, the inventory situation, and the utilization of the individual plants. The Supervisory Board also consulted with the Board of Management on the further approach to participations, the proportion of women in the company, in particular on the Board of Management, but also below it, progress with digitalization and the connectivity of vehicles with their environment, as well as alternative drive systems and their prevailing legal position. It approved specific goals for the composition of the Supervisory Board, a competence profile for the Board, and also the diversity concept for the Supervisory Board and Board of Management. The Supervisory Board was also regularly briefed by the Board of Management on the key content of Strategy 2025 and its progress. In approving the plans for human resources, financial and investment planning, the Supervisory Board once again confirmed the Board of Management's strategic decisions. At its 4th ordinary meeting during the past fiscal year, the Supervisory Board, together with the Board of Management, routinely determined the content of the Declaration of Conformity in accordance with Section 161 of the German Stock Corporation Act. In addition, the diesel crisis, in particular concerning the V6 3-liter TDI engine, as well as human resources decisions, accounted for a significant portion of the Supervisory Board's work in the reporting year. The Supervisory Board was kept constantly informed of the diesel crisis by the Board of Management in the past fiscal year, both in writing and orally. This applies in particular to events in the United States, but also in other countries or regions of the world, for example, South Korea, Japan, Australia, or Europe. In this connection, the Supervisory Board held 4 extraordinary meetings in the past fiscal year. In addition to its 4 ordinary meetings, the presiding committee of the Supervisory Board held 4 extraordinary meetings in 2017. The purpose of the extraordinary meetings of both bodies was, for example, to prepare and pass resolutions on the DOJ Criminal Settle Agreement, the 2nd and 3rd Partial Consent Decree, the CBP Settlement Agreement, as well as the situation regarding the V6 and V8 TDI engine in Europe, especially in Germany. Before the respective resolutions were passed, the presiding committee and Supervisory Board sought comprehensive technical and legal advice from internal and external experts and took account of their assessments in the decision-making process. 1 extraordinary presiding committee meeting and 1 extraordinary Supervisory Board meeting was assigned for preparing and deciding on human resources matters. All Supervisory Board members were present at more than half of the meetings. The average attendance rate in the past fiscal year was above 96%. The members of the presiding committee held full consultations before each ordinary meeting. The negotiating committee did not need to be convened in 2017. The audit committee met once per year in the past fiscal year. At its meetings, this committee considered the annual and consolidated financial statements for the 2016 fiscal year, as well as other topics such as risk management, compliance, and auditing work. In addition, the audit committee scrutinized the 2017 interim financial report prior to its publication and discussed its contents with the Board of Management and representatives of the auditing firm. The audit committee also advised on the independence of the auditor, the findings of additional audits commissioned, and the situation of the company at the end of 2017. It passed the necessary resolutions for putting the auditing of the annual financial statements out to tender. The state of implementation of the German Corporate Governance Code within Audi was discussed at the Supervisory Board meeting on November the 30th, 2017. The Supervisory Board and the Board of Management published their results in a joint declaration pursuant to Article 161 of the German Joint Stock Company Act. Further details can be found in the Corporate Governance Report, starting from page 155 of the 2017 Annual Report of Audi. Audi AG appointed PricewaterhouseCoopers Aktiengesellschaft Wirtschaftsprüfungsgesellschaft as auditor of the accounts for the 2017 fiscal year. The auditor of the accounts confirmed the annual financial statements of Audi AG, the consolidated financial statements, as well as the combined management report of the Audi Group and Audi AG for the 2017 fiscal year, and in each case issued its unqualified certification with an additional note. The members of the Audit Committee and Supervisory Board received the documentation for the annual and consolidated financial statements together with the corresponding audit reports by the auditor in advance of their meetings on February the 22nd, 2018. The auditing firm's representatives explained the key findings of their audit in detail at the meetings of the Audit Committee and Supervisory Board, and then answered their queries from members of both bodies. Following examination of the audit documents received and in-depth discussions with the auditing firm's representatives, and based on its own conclusions, the Audit Committee recommended to the Supervisory Board at the meeting on February the 22nd, 2018, that the annual and consolidated financial statements each be signed off. After appropriate discussions, the Supervisory Board accepted this recommendation and signed off the annual and consolidated financial statements prepared by the Board of Management. The annual financial statements are thus established. Ladies and gentlemen, towards the end of my report, let me briefly turn to the remuneration system for the members of the Board of Management. The basic principles of the remuneration system for the Audi Board of Management were approved at the 121st Ordinary Shareholders Meeting on May the 20th, 2010, by a majority of 99.7% of the votes cast. Further details and the detailed figures of management board remuneration are published in the remuneration report starting on page 160 of the Audi annual report for 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of my report on the Supervisory Board. I thank you for listening and would now like to ask Mr. Stadler and Mr. Seitz to give their report on the business in 2017 and on the current situation of the company. Mr. Stadler, you have the floor.
Vielen Dank.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dies. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome you most cordially to Ingolstadt. I and my colleagues on the board would like to welcome you most cordially on the occasion of our today's annual general meeting. First of all, I would like to comment on the latest situation about the engine management software in the Audi A6 and A7 models. It is important to me that you, as our shareholders, get to know about this firsthand. Our company has been concerned with tackling the diesel crisis in September 2015 to learn from mistakes and to also make good damage. Our team, our employees are working hard on tackling this enormously burdensome situation. Unfortunately, time and again, we find setbacks that have to be put up with. And of course, we are wondering, why do we only recognize this mistake now? So at this point, let me tell you clearly, the diesel crisis is not yet over for us. And also, the legal handling of the diesel crisis is going to go on. So that is why I'm saying, nevertheless, we are making good progress in dealing with the diesel crisis. We're working untiringly on a thorough resolution and continue to liaise with the authorities on the technical issues. So this is the way how we've also handled the current situation. So the 7th generation of Audi A6 and A7 in the version with the 6-cylinder diesel engine after generation 2 Evo with 200 kilowatts in terms of power output. 60,000 units of these are affected the world over, roughly 30,000 of these in Germany. This model is being discontinued right now. In the past week, we already actively contacted the Luxembourg Registration Authority and the Federal Motor Transport Authority proactively. The technical mistake made in one of our specialist departments is a serious one. However, the functionality that we're talking about is not a new manipulation software. The software module has been identified within the framework of our efforts, clarification efforts, and the authorities have been aware of that. Unfortunately, we have failed to overcome it so far in the software status and combination. With regard to the real driving emissions, this does not have an impact. So we are in close consultation with the authorities. Detailed talks, of course, are also going to follow in the next few days. Apart from that, we took the decision to stop deliveries of the affected models immediately after we found out about the situation. And we've developed a short-term solution for our customers in the form of a software update. This will soon be presented to the authorities, the registration authorities, for their approval. Again, in this case, identifying non-conformity is the result of our consistent clarification. Of course, we very much regret the uncertainty and the annoyance for our customer, the burden on our staff, on our corporate partners, and also on the authorities and the public at large. Rest assured, we learned from what has happened, and we focus all the more on action with integrity and sustainable future. To this end, we also made major organizational changes and implemented those within the company. We have created an integrity, compliance, and risk management department. In the technical development division, we've brought together the best experts from various business units into the technical conformity department. In the drive system development department, we have strengthened and firmly established a multiple control principle. And we also have reorganized our whistleblower system. We've also naturally, intensively dealt with our corporate culture, and our code of conduct has also undergone revision. These are the basic principles regarding the way the people working for our company are going to act in the future. Integrity has top priority. That means behaving impeccably in both moral and legal terms. This also means that we need to speak up on non-comfortable truths and that contradiction is accepted throughout the company. Within the framework of the Audi Convention, only recently, more than 3,000 employees were informed and motivated to make an active contribution. With this clear-cut orientation, we would like to strengthen the trust of our customers and the public at large, step by step. For me and for my colleagues on the board, this, of course, has got top priority, because with the implementation of the Ethics and Compliance Initiative, which is a well-recognized standard for the basic principles of behavior, we take the next few steps within the framework of our corporate strategy, Together for Integrity. Of course, we also are in constant contact with our monitor, who, by the way, very much welcomes our initiatives and activities. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2017, we mastered a very demanding business year. 3 key activities had an impact on our actions. So what was positive for our brand was the kickoff with the Audi A8 and the Audi A7, the flagships of our model range. Secondly, we set the course for fundamental growth in China, together with our joint venture partner FAW and the dealer network have cost us deliveries in the first half of the year, and that was a rather bumpy road. At the end of the year, we had joint efforts. We undertook joint efforts, and nevertheless, we were the premium brand in China. And thirdly, the diesel crisis, I already mentioned that. I can only tell you it ties up enormous capacities in our company. Of course, also means a major financial burden. I already mentioned that and described that in great detail at the beginning, but I would like to add something at this point. Crisis situations, the way we experience them right now, are frequently a basis, a foundation for fundamental change and steps toward reorganization. And how we're going to use these steps is something that I'm going to explain to you soon. I believe despite difficult conditions, we've achieved good results in 2017. All our key figures were above the prior year levels. We will take this momentum into the new financial year and into our markets. This year, we have a special anniversary in China. 30 years ago, we were the first premium manufacturer to start local production in our largest single market by far. That was with just one model, the Audi 100 back then. Today, together with FAW, we produce 6 Audi models in China. In the next 5 years, we will more than double our portfolio from local production. Together with our partner FAW, we will significantly expand our product range, above all in the area of electrified drive systems and sporty SUVs. Our Chinese customers love the Q family. This is why we will launch 10 new SUV variants in the market, of which we will produce 7 locally. 5 of those 10 SUVs will be fully electric. All that belongs to our comprehensive market initiative in the Middle Kingdom. By 2023, we will double our deliveries in China to 1.1 million units, with the market growing remarkably. Basically, that means we're doubling our deliveries. We are, however, also restructuring our business in China for this next growth phase. That is why we signed a memorandum of understanding. In that context, we plan to establish 2 new companies with FAW, both of which are components of our 10-year business plan. One of them is an independent sales company, and the other one is a joint venture, in which we will together develop a digital service offering and new mobility services, of course, tailored to Audi customers in China. Furthermore, the project for our future cooperation with the Shanghai Automotive Industry Corporation, SAIC, is now taking shape in accordance with our plans. And we will, of course, inform you about the specific steps to be taken in due course. Also, our 2 other core regions, North America and Europe, contributed to Audi's record unit sales. 1.88 million cars were delivered worldwide. So we also made a strong start into the year 2018. In the first quarter, we sold nearly 10% more cars worldwide than in the prior year period. We grew by 10.2% in North America. Also in China, we are back on track again and above the prior year level in the first quarter, thus making up for the impact of last year's negotiations. This shows, on the one hand, how attractive the 4 Rings product range is for our customers and how loyal they are to us, also in challenging times. And I would like to personally thank all our customers for staying loyal to us. In 2018, we are continuing the biggest model initiative in the history of our company. We started last year. I already mentioned our new flagship, the new Audi A8. Along with the new progressive Audi A7, it represents our new design language and pioneering technologies, such as the fully digital operating concept with touchscreens and tactile feedback. They will be followed by the purist Audi R8 as the V10 rear-wheel drive version and the Audi A6, our best-selling upper-range car, as both a sedan and Avant. Audi A6, A7 and A8 lift the upper range and luxury class from Audi to the next level, of course. By 2020, we plan to grow by 50% in this segment. That's our task for us as a premium brand. The host of new models from Audi will soon also include the Audi A8 as a plug-in hybrid, a prestigious 12-cylinder car, the Audi A1, which will convince young customers also in its next generation. But that's not all. There's more to it. We are also stirring up the SUV segment. This year next, we will launch 11 new derivatives or completely new Q models, such as the new phase of the Q family, the Audi Q8, which we will present in Shenzhen in China in June this year. Or the new Audi Q3, which already is a driver of our growth, especially also in China and on the North American market. This will be followed by a particularly emotive Audi SQ2. The Q2 base model achieved a growth of more than 50% in the United Kingdom in the first quarter, and exclusively for our customers in China, we will launch the urban Audi Q2 and the versatile Audi Q5, both as a long version. Even today, Audi is the Q brand. No premium competitor sells a higher proportion of SUVs. And we're extending that lead quite intentionally. By 2025, every other Audi automobile delivered will be a Q model. This year, we will have altogether more than 20 market launches. We're going to have new products in 6 core model series and are upgrading 2 more core model series on top of that. This means an enormous feat of strength for us within our team, in parallel with our challenging changeover to the WLTP test cycle, which the entire industry is now going through. You may already know the EU Commission has introduced the real driving emission tests 1 year earlier than planned. We are currently re-homologating nearly every model in each engine, transmission and equipment version. At the same time, our engine test benches are already well utilized due to the clarification of the diesel crisis. Our goal is clear. We are taking the initiative with many new products in the future. This involves managing a complex phase-out and ramp-up scenario. And we are convinced from 2019 onwards, the new models will then develop their full momentum. In connection with the changeover to WLTP, this may have a temporary negative impact on our deliveries in some European markets this year. So 2018 thus remains a year of transition and a new start. We rely on the strength of our brand. The other brands in the group's premium brand group once again provided evidence of this strength last year. They are steadily continuing their development and dare to go radical new ways. For example, Lamborghini has presented the Urus, its first super SUV, which has had a terrific response from the customers. After just 1 month of taking orders, the entire production of the year 2018 was sold out. In its 6 years of belonging to the family, Ducati has increased its unit sales by more than 30% and its revenue by approximately 50%. With the Panigale V4, Ducati for the first time launched a series-produced motorcycle with a 4-cylinder engine. That puts this bike closer than ever before to its counterpart in the MotoGP racing series. An Ital design together with Airbus, just presented the pop-up next in Geneva. This is the further developed study of an air transport system. So you see the overall picture. We are well prepared for the future. We also have a solid base in financial and organizational terms. With our Action and Transformation Plan, we will boost our performance while improving processes and structures within the company. The plan will accelerate new profitable business models and, of course, fascinating products, such as the Audi icon, which I will love to talk about later. As a result of the transformation plan, we will realize 4 additional models and derivatives from existing budgets. All in all, we have 4 main strategic thrusts with the transformation plan. It's about products, markets, innovations, and efficiency. And at the end of the day, our customers should enjoy maximum pleasure in driving our cars. Alexander Seitz will give you the details in a few minutes. At the end of this program in 2022, we will have completed the most comprehensive corporate reorganization in Audi's recent history. In the next decade, we shall be a more agile company, significantly enriched with new competences and partnerships. And thirdly, integrity and compliance and corporate culture will also be raised to a new level with this, because this is the basic prerequisite for long-term economic success. We are determined to play a leading role in the radical transformation of our industry. And the engine of this transformation, of course, are the people who are on board. My board of management colleagues and I, we are all well aware Audi's success is based on a strong team at the end of the day. And on behalf of the Board of Management, I would like to express my sincere thanks for the untiring efforts of that team. Thank you so much. We have an exceptional team. More than 90,000 Audi employees give their all every single day for our company. They are shaping our transformation by pushing forward with innovations, thus to a great extent reinventing the four rings time and again. With this team, we as a premium brand will be at the forefront of the transformation of an entire industry. And I will explain in the second part of my speech how we're going to make progress with that. Thank you.
A change of perspective opens up new ways of thinking. At Audi, we use these to achieve our goals faster and avoid standing still. On the contrary, challenges stimulate, boldness inspires, complexity motivates. We derive strength from this thirst for action. Strength to create innovations that we put on the streets. Feel the traction. Welcome to the Audi Annual Report 2017.
Ja, sehr geehrte Aktionäre.
Distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, I too want to bid you a very warm welcome to the annual general meeting of Audi AG. Anybody who wants to be successful over the long term has to be fit for the future. For me, this means innovative and versatile. It means resilient and upright. It means operationally excellent. And, as you also expect, financially successful. Our Audi Group is currently massively expanding its future viability. On the one hand, we are gradually overcoming the mistakes of the past. We are actively addressing the diesel crisis, financially and technically. And we are anchoring integrity within our culture. One example, as Mr. Stadler already mentioned, of how we are doing that is the Audi Convention. We have trained more than 3,000 members of our management staff in the subject of integrity at 14-day and 3-nights events with the participation of the Board of Management. They are now carrying this spirit into our team as role models and multipliers. On the other hand, we are rapidly gearing up for the future. We are taking the initiative with new car models and are significantly rejuvenating our portfolio compared with the competition. With the Audi Vorsprung 2025 strategy, we are focusing on autonomous and connected mobility, on alternative drive systems and new business models. In addition, we are securing our operational excellence and financial targets with our action and transformation plan, which I will present to you in a moment. Our Audi Group has proven that it is resilient to strong headwinds. And that is due not least to your support. I would now like to show you that it is worthwhile accompanying Audi as a shareholder also in the future. Our performance in 2017 is proof of this. Despite intensive competition, heterogeneous market developments, and discussions all around diesel technology, we have developed robustly and achieved our targets. The deliveries of the Audi brand were slightly higher than in the previous year and thus at a new record level. With a growth of 1.4%, we generated revenue of more than 60 billion euros for the first time. And we increased our operating profit before special items by 4.4% to 5.1 billion euros.
In China,
let me first give you an insight into the sales performance of the Audi brand. In China, we were able to increase our volume slightly. At the beginning of the year, our deliveries there were affected by intensive negotiations with our local partners. In the second half of the year, however, we were accelerating again. From July to December, we achieved an increase of 14% and set a new record in every single month. Deliveries of nearly 600,000 cars are a renewed confirmation of our premium market leadership in China. In Western Europe, we achieved a slight increase of 0.5% and delivered a total of more than 800,000 Audi automobiles to our customers. And that, in spite of Brexit in the United Kingdom and despite challenges from the model cycle. We performed very well in Spain and Italy. In Spain, we delivered 8% more cars and we achieved a growth of 10% in Italy. With deliveries of almost 230,000 units, we achieved a record in the United States for the 7th consecutive year. This was a significant increase of 7.8% in a declining overall market, and thus makes us the only major manufacturer to have grown in the US premium segment. More than half of our US customers choose one of our SUV models there. And also, deliveries of the Audi brand developed very satisfactorily in some other markets. In Canada, for example, we grew by 18%. In some markets with special situations, however, our volumes were weaker. Our total deliveries in the rest of the world were 6% below the previous year. However, with 1.9 million deliveries worldwide, we achieved an overall increase of 0.6%. Let's now turn to our company's financial development. In 2017, our revenue exceeded 60 billion euros for the first time, and that despite strong challenges. I'm now talking about the general conditions in the Asia-Pacific region, the weaker British pound and the product mix disadvantages from the model cycle. We benefited, however, from the market success of the new Audi Q2 and the A5 family, as well as from our strong business in North America. In addition to the FBU sales in China, thus the imported cars, especially the deliveries of parts for local production in China, and our engine business also contributed to this revenue growth. We increased our operating profit before special items to 5.1 billion euros and improved our operating margin to 8.4%. Well, if we included earning from our joint venture in China in operating profit as competitors do, that margin would be just over a percentage point higher. We include our China business in our financial result. Overall, we more than offset the negative effects on earnings with our attractive products, strong brand, and consistent cost discipline. In the year as a whole, we reduced selling expenses by almost 9% compared with the previous year, for example, by systematically prioritizing advertising expenses. And on the revenue side, we were able to maintain and even improve our price position, so we didn't buy any market share. We improved our product costs despite headwinds from the raw material markets. And also, a forward-looking currency hedging and a good original parts business contributed to the positive development of earnings. On the other hand, we had higher fixed costs and depreciation in connection with making our product network more flexible, as well as our model initiative and effects from the model mix and CO2 measures. And a brief explanation of the reported special items. In 2017, we increased our provision for the diesel issue in North America because the valuation premises had changed. Special items of 387 million euros include expenses and provisions for technical measures and legal risks in North America. After special items, our operating profit was 4.7 billion euros and the operating margin was 7.8%. The earnings trend shows that the Audi Group continued its stable development in a challenging environment in 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, the Audi Group balance sheet total grew to 63.7 billion euros at December 31, 2017. And I emphasize, the increase of almost 2.6 billion euros took place entirely in shareholders' equity. This reflects forward-looking currency hedging, high retained earnings after the profit transfer, and the capital injection by Volkswagen AG in the amount of 459 million euros. Against this backdrop, we increased our equity ratio to more than 44%. Our net cash flow in 2017 was affected by two opposing one-time items and increased significantly overall to 4.3 billion euros. On the one hand, and in the framework of the diesel issue, we had a cash outflow of approximately 1.5 billion euros, which we had already planned in our provisions. And on the other hand, related to the sale of a participation to Volkswagen, we had a cash inflow of 3.3 billion euros. The background to this is that we divested of our previous minority interest in Volkswagen Group Services. The service company is now fully owned by Volkswagen. But to be quite clear, even without this one-time effect, our net cash flow is significantly positive and was sufficient to offset the outflows for the diesel issue. For you, our shareholders, it's important that in 2017 we again covered all investments from our own cash flow and actually further strengthened our high self-financing capability. Let's have a brief look at our start to the year 2018. Thanks to a good performance in China and in the United States, our deliveries increased significantly compared with the previous year, with a growth of 10%. In this context, and thanks to the market success of the Audi Q5 and the A5 family, we also increased our revenue significantly. However, we experienced headwinds from currency effects and the first-time adoption of the revised IFRS accounting standard. According to the former calculation, our revenue would have been even higher. Operating profit was reduced by the reclassification of the residual value hedging model, also due to the first-time adoption of the revised IFRS. The bottom line is that we increased our operating profit by 4.5% to 1.3 billion euros. Our operating return on sales for the first quarter was 8.5%. This demonstrates our successful start to the exceptional year 2018. An exceptional year because 2018 is a year of transition as well as of a new start, as Mr. Stadler already mentioned. On the one hand, a new product will be launched every 3 weeks on average. This means that older models will be phased out and production will be changed over for more than 20 new products, including our plant in Brussels for our first fully electric model, the Audi e-tron. In this context, we are also restructuring our production network to achieve even better group synergies in future. 2018 is an exceptional year also because the industry will have to adapt to new homologation requirements, especially the WLTP test cycle. These challenges tie up capacities, temporarily influence our business, and can lead to fluctuations in volumes and financial key figures during the year. Nonetheless, we maintain our ambitious forecast. We plan to achieve deliveries at least at the prior year level, combined with a slight revenue growth due to a better model mix. We aim to keep the operating return on sales within the target corridor of 8 to 10%, and we will continue to invest in the future from our own resources. Along with high upfront expenditure, we expect a net cash flow of between 2.7 and 3.2 billion euros. Ladies and gentlemen, the long-term success of Audi is important to all of us. As part of the Audi Vorsprung 2025 strategy, Audi is transforming itself into a provider of digital, autonomous and electric premium mobility. In doing so, we have a firm view of our long-term financial targets for return on sales, cash flow and investment. This is how we create added value for our customers and for our shareholders. We plan high upfront expenditure of approximately 40 billion euros for digital, electric and autonomous mobility by 2025. This is a convincing statement for the future of Audi. But for me, as the Chief Financial Officer, it is also clear that an operating return of sales of 8 to 10% remains our goal. For me, this is a commitment to premium. What helps us here is the Action and Transformation Plan, which we have drawn up as the new Board of Management. With it, in the next 5 years, we want to free up a total of 10 billion euros over the next 5 years. By strengthening our cost ratio and at the same time our performance side. In order to optimize costs, we are making even better use of synergies within Audi and the Volkswagen Group. We are streamlining our processes and removing unnecessary variety and complexity from areas not relevant to the customer. We are challenging the freed-up resources into top innovations and new products that make a real difference to the customer. This supports the performance side. For example, with another model series in the A segment alongside the A3, we will attract even more young people in the future to the 4 rings. And in China, the future market for electric cars, we will seize the opportunity and inspire our customers there with 10 new electrified models by 2022. The premium mobility experience of the future is digital. This is why we are gradually expanding our mobility services and digital offerings. In 2025, how new business models will contribute to 1 billion euros of operating profit by this time will be explained by Rupert Stadler in a minute. With two examples, I would like to show you that the Action and Transformation Plan is already working. Within the given budget framework, we have succeeded in deciding on 4 additional models and derivative. And since January, we have already implemented the first measures amounting to a low triple-digit million amount. With the Action and Transformation Plan, we even go a step further. With the new organizational structure and the enhanced development of expertise, we increase the pace of change in the company and in the team. We are allocating our resources to new areas of business while increasing efficiency in the core business. More agile processes help us to shorten our innovation cycles. This means that we will be able to implement new technologies already in the context of product upgrades. We are breaking down divisional boundaries and working together on a project-oriented basis. This also applies across company boundaries, that is, to external partners with which we want to collaborate more closely, especially for digitization and autonomous driving, in order to make the workforce fit for the future in a demand and competence-oriented manner. We are also increasing our training budget by a third to more than €500 million by 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished shareholders, on its path into the future, Audi has accelerated and continues to be an attractive investment. And with our measures, we as the Board of Management and with our entire team are ensuring that this remains the case for our company, for our Audi AG. Thank you very much.
Meine sehr verehrten Damen und
Ladies and gentlemen, when today someone asks me what Audi stands for, I still think of the same 3 words: Vorsprung durch Technik. That has always been our promise, and it is still our promise today and tomorrow. And we have to keep this promise again and again, every single day. Of course, nothing has ever been laid in our laps at Audi. We never have been in the pole position, really. We've always been the challenger. At the end of the day, it was always Vorsprung that made the difference for Audi customers. That is well documented by 135 prizes in 2017 alone. These still document that we reasonably handled our business despite the diesel crisis. To get there, we invested 34 billion euros in R&D and invested 25 billion euros in our plants in the past 10 years. We have always had to work hard for our place in the sun. And I'm just saying, we drive up the hills that others ski down. And it is precisely this kind of mentality that makes me so confident about the future. I don't need to tell you about the immense challenges facing the automotive industry. The mobility of tomorrow will have little to do with that of today. We are witnesses of a technological race in which completely new players are appearing on the scene. New players with no automotive history at all. And I am very confident that we will not only perform well in this race, but we will also be trendsetters, pace setters, benchmarks in many respects. And we have to be that because we've got the potential to revolutionize mobility. Yes, we're already revolutionizing many areas. We've got a clear-cut strategic plan, a roadmap to redefine mobility in the premium segment. You are familiar with the big megatrends with which we align our activities, of course. Digitalization, sustainability, and urbanization. These are 3 megatrends that, of course, are intertwined. 3 megatrends that present us, each on its own, with enormous technical and financial challenges. So we all ask ourselves, how much money do we invest in which technology and when? Where do we set our priorities? Time and again, we keep coming to one and the same conclusion, that we have to do the one thing without leaving out the other. We are constantly further developing our strategy, the constant element being our ambition to set the benchmark in all areas. In terms of technology and quality, we are taking electric mobility to the next level. We are trendsetters for autonomous mobility. We define the so-called digital experience of tomorrow for our customers. Safe, incredibly convenient and comfortable, and custom-made, individual. This is the recipe for the new premium. We are making individual premium mobility fit for the future. But one thing at a time. Let me start with electric mobility. Our clear-cut goal is to become the #1 premium supplier for electric mobility. No more and no less. There's no doubt about it. We didn't start in the pole position. Not because we couldn't do it, but because we didn't want to, intentionally. When battery technology did not yet permit ranges suitable for everyday use, we preferred plug-in hybrids over as a low-range electric car. Let me put it like that. We calmly created the conditions to take electric mobility to this new next level. So you don't need to start in the pole position in order to win a race. We didn't invent electric mobility, but we're now charging it with our DNA. Our e-cars, and that's our wish and our intention, our e-cars will be the best in the premium class from a technology and quality point of view. They're going to be superior, more attractive and highly emotive. We will have Vorsprung in electric mobility through technological excellence and quality, and we're taking decisive action. By 2025, every Audi model series will have an electrified version, either fully electric or as a plug-in hybrid. We are combining this product diversity with a very ambitious goal. And we're also networking that with the Chinese market that ambitiously sets the benchmark, because we believe by 2025 we're going to sell about 800,000 electric cars, be it fully hybrid cars, fully electric or plug-in hybrid cars. Our goal is for about every third car we sell to be electrified in the middle of the next decade, and that means we're going to achieve two highly ambitious goals, also on the basis of legislation. Ladies and gentlemen, 2018 is the year of the Audi e-tron. The series version of the Audi e-tron prototype comes from our CO2 neutral certified plant in Brussels, and we just decided within the board of management that following this role model, we will make all production sites CO2 neutral by 2030. We're going to orient them in this direction. The Audi e-tron is equipped with electric motors from our competence center in Jahre. Our Hungarian site celebrates its 25th anniversary this year. Around 33 million combustion engines since its foundation. I believe that's quite a proud achievement. And in the next 25 years, our Hungarian employees will certainly produce conventional, but also a large number of electric motors, conventional engines, and a large number of electric motors. The e-tron will have its world premiere in Brussels this summer. Advanced sales have already begun in some markets. Customers contacted us on them, and 4,300 reservations have already been received from Norway, and 1,200 reservations just in the first 3 weeks from the Netherlands. We will offer our valued customers high-power charging already at market launch with a charging capacity of 150 kilowatts, and the Audi e-tron is ready for the next long journey in less than 30 minutes. This is Vorsprung durch Technik for us. This is where we need to go. and the charging infrastructure is being established in cooperation with partners. In Europe, we use our Ionity joint venture to develop a charging network along the continent's main transport routes. By 2020, 400 fast charging stations will be available with 6 pillars each. Porsche, Volkswagen, the BMW Group, Daimler and Board are also on board in this. In the United States, our customers will benefit from Electrify America as of late 2019. There, the Volkswagen Group is building 650 charging locations in 17 metropolitan regions and more than 300 additional stations along highways. And the second trick will follow in 2019, the Audi e-tron Sportback, yet another element of our premium strategy. And things will continue in rapid succession. Starting in 2020, the Audi e-tron GT will be produced at our Neckarsulm plant at Bollingerhöfe, Heilbronn. So here you can see a design sketch of this highly emotive Gran Turismo from Audi Sport, and it's got the right DNA to push the Audi brand, just like the TT or the Q7 Pikes Peak or the R8 did. The Audi e-tron GT is proof of electric high performance. Audi e-tron, e-tron Sportback, e-tron GT are representative of many other electric cars that we're going to present to you in the years to come. We systematically utilize 2 major synergy levers. One lever is the modular electric system developed by Volkswagen for the compact segment. The other one is our premium architecture electrification, with which we are creating mid, upper, and luxury class electric cars together with Porsche. In this way, we are making e-mobility profitable while quickly offering our customers a variety of attractive models for emission-free driving. These cooperative projects enable us to reduce development and investment costs substantially. On our roadmap E, you can see that these models will be coming thick and fast. Without giving away too many details, among the first 5 electric cars from our brand, you're going to find 2 sports utility vehicles and 2 sports activity vehicles. We've got big plans. We are going to electrify all our models, one after the other. By 2025, we will have more than 20 electrified models on offer across the entire portfolio. More than half of them will be battery electric vehicles, and the others will be plug-in hybrids. This drive system strategy also includes an initial small series with fuel cells, which we will put on the road in 2020, because hydrogen is another perfect energy source for e-mobility of tomorrow. And we're also continuing our research into synthetic fuels that can be used in existing engines to conserve resources and protect the climate. Ladies and gentlemen, how effectively we maintain our customers' loyalty in the future depends very much on how we connect their mobility experience with the digital world. The new Audi e-tron, for example, will be the first Audi to offer flexibly bookable features or functions. Customers will also be able to continuously adapt their cars to their individual needs, also after delivery. With the My Audi app, they will, for example, be able to activate special lighting, laser lighting, driver assistance systems, or infotainment functions. In transforming our business model into a premium digital car company, the My Audi digital ecosystem will play a major role. With our digital services, we wish to contribute an amount of up to 1 billion euros of operating profit in 2025 alone. And the My Audi customer portal will have to make a significant contribution to this. By 2020, we wish to serve 3 million active users every month. The new My Audi app serves as a direct interface to the customer. We launched the app last year, and it is meanwhile used by approximately 1.3 million customers. Via their smartphones, our customers are informed about their Audi at all times, can send navigation destinations from the sofa or desk to their MMI, and they can plan the route to the ultimate destination, including portions on foot. So as you can see, we rely on mobility concepts with Vorsprung to our customers. This is the core of our brand and our promise. We are pioneers for key technologies and continually adapt ourselves to new conditions in our environment. In a whole number of pilot projects with new mobility services, we really learned a great deal in the past few years. We're now bringing together our findings in a comprehensive premium service package called Audi On Demand, and the motto is rent my Audi, my dream Audi, when I want and for as long as I want. We shall implement Audi On Demand in more than 15 markets by 2020. Those hubs are the starting point for a profitable network with which we aim to activate 1 million mobility customers by 2025. Worldwide, we see a market volume, and this is not a figure that we're providing. External experts actually give this figure, and the market volume they see is around 6 billion euros for the service in the premium segment, and we wish to take our share of that. In 2017, we launched Audi On Demand in Beijing and Hong Kong. Singapore, Manchester followed in recent months, and we're now expanding step by step in Europe, the United States, and Asia. And the next hub will be Tokyo. And we most certainly are also the trendsetter for autonomous mobility. We at Audi are working on that, for example, at our Autonomous Intelligent Driving GmbH. 2021. In 2021, that's the goal. A software module for autonomous driving ready for serious production will be launched. This module will be used in so-called robo-taxis as well as very likely in private cars driving fully autonomously possibly without a steering wheel or pedals. Top experts from 15 nations are working on this project with their entire expertise and a strong network. They come from the fields of robotics, machine learning, software development, and, of course, the automotive industry. Recruitment is now taking place and is in full swing, and in the midterm, we're going to recruit approximately 600 employees. Autonomous intelligent driving is now testing the technology on the roads. Starting in September, the first autonomous vehicles with electric drive will operate as shuttles for vehicle logistics at the Neckarsulm plant, so we don't necessarily need to go on the motorway. We also can use our plant infrastructure in order to perform tests. With the new technology, we will create new services. They are to supplement the value added of piloted driving and parking. Our vision of autonomous driving is embodied by the Audi icon. It's a strong symbol of our technological vision. You can see the Audi icon here today, fully electric, fully autonomous, and completely connected. It's part of this digital world of the future. More than that, it's ahead of it and is to set trends. The Audi icon underscores our leading role in autonomous driving. With this car, we really are taking a big step towards the mobility of the future. Today, I would like to announce or admit that we plan to have an exciting pilot fleet for the year 2021. Why is that? It's the 50th year anniversary of Vorsprung durch Technik, and the plan is that we'd like to implement this status symbol. In 3 years' time, we will present our first autonomous electric car. It's most certainly going to be a pilot fleet on the basis of the Audi icon show car, an interurban shuttle with lounge character. Towards the middle of the next decade, we will certainly also offer an autonomous series production car on this basis. It's going to be part of our portfolio. Ladies and gentlemen, all of that is not a dream of the future. That is our future that we are working on today and that we are able to shape today. We will invest approximately 40 billion euros in this future by 2025. It's going to be very digital, electric, and it's going to be semi or fully autonomous. We want to help shape this future by co-revolutionizing these mobility issues. I know revolution is a big word, but depoliticized, it just means that an existing order is fundamentally changed. And this is exactly what is happening to mobility right now in our industry, in the way customers will be mobile tomorrow, and of course within the entire mobility universe. And who, if not us, should try and lead the way? Our action and transformation plan will help us to gain the necessary resources for this task and have these available. Alexander Seitz already explained the plan. So we're considerably increasing our own scope for investment in the future. Only by investing in the future can we live up to our ambition to set the standards and deliver Vorsprung durch Technik. At the same time, we, of course, are also called upon to be pioneers in new business fields. The bottom line is that we're securing our margins within the strategic target corridor we set ourselves over the long term. So we talked a great deal about the transformation of Audi, but there's one thing that is clear. Transformation is not an end in itself. It simply puts us in a position to develop attractive services and products that are always close to our customers' needs. Why are we changing our organization and our mindset so fundamentally? We're doing that for the benefit of our customers, because we want them to stay loyal to us tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. But of course, they just shouldn't be loyal, but also greatly enthusiastic about our products. And sustainability in this is much more than complying with environmental legislation. It is a task for society that we take very seriously. Read about how Audi is tackling this task in our 2017 sustainability report, which is available online as of today. I'm convinced customers of tomorrow will make their purchasing decisions dependent also on how credibly and sustainably a brand acts. And at the end of the day, this will also determine the value of a brand. And that is why we are working so hard. And that is why we will continue to work so hard to keep delivering on our promise of Vorsprung durch Technik, time and again. Thank you very much.
Mr. Stadler, Mr. Seitz, thank you very much for your remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, before we now turn to the agenda items and the debate, I would now like to ask cameramen to discontinue taking any more videos, and we'll also end the public transmission on the web now. I would like to thank all viewers and listeners